even in the Old Testament, I mean, like the king is actually poured oil on by a prophet. And so that completely makes them uncomfortable. What's up, guys? It's Rick. It's Actuality Show with daily Christian commentary videos. On this particular episode, we are talking about the number of people that are actually pissed off at the king having to be put in or have to have a bishop or a church clergyman to do anything at the ceremony that was taking place very recently. And this has angered some people. I think I saw a post that was saying, why did the king have to have a ring? Why did the king have to have this? Why was there a bishop? You know? So there was a lot of things that they had issues with over there. And I wanted to kind of like point out certain things, like 4 different things that actually go into this discussion, and we can have that conversation down in the comments down below. It's the Actuality Show, the daily Christian commentary videos. Now, the interesting thing for me in this subject was, first of all, personal beliefs. The reason why personal beliefs was the first thing that came to my mind is that we've come to a point where people are more than happy to go the mile. While they want to have the discussion of saying we are Africans, we should believe in Africanism, they impose their Africanism on everybody. This is what everybody ought to believe. And so they don't see any other thing. As a matter of fact, when you bring something else inside, it creates a completely different belief system. Now, while we are on that first point of personal beliefs, this actually takes us to Europe with the Queen's house, right? The House of Lords and them kind of things. Those people, you are not allowed to believe anything outside of the Church of England. Yes. When we made the video about the Queen having her own religion, yeah, you're not allowed to be king if you believe in something else outside of the Church of England. It was one of the things, it was actually one of the rules that was out there. So there goes your personal beliefs there. He has how he runs his house, and so does he not have his right? I mean, like it's in his Bill of Rights for him to safe area of believing what he wants. Right to faith. But no, why must he have a bishop? If that's what he believes, even if I don't know if he's Christian, but if that's what he wants at his thingy, why are you so offended that he wants that? It's this opposition towards God that's just constant. I spoke about it yesterday on the Panuel video and thing. And so there goes personal beliefs. They don't mind saying that other people are radical against their beliefs, but they would do the same thing just about the same. So personal beliefs out, almost like the Queen's house over there in London. Now, the second thing of the entire thing of the bishop, ring. People were taking an issue with the king having a ring. And the whole thing about the king having a ring and whatnot, and when a person is being put into the role of bishopry, they give them a ring. When a person was a king, they used to have a seal for the king. And so a ring was very common, that seal would be the ring that rests on the king's hand. And so it was easier for the king to put his seal on whatever letter was going, because that ring was always on his hand and nobody had that symbol on his, that would be engraved on his hand. And so there goes where that idea comes from. It's not a new thing that a king would have a ring. Now other people were saying satanic, that's one. We're not here to address that one. But it goes back to that personal beliefs thing, and also something that has been there, it's been known. But that's all because they would rather tell the king how to run his house. Okay. And also, if you're thinking about the whole thing about having a ring, there were certain things that a king was given in the, like in the Bible, you'll read of a scepter of righteousness. And so this was something that was given to a king and you see it within the conversation of Jesus, as a matter of fact. And so that was one of the things that a king would be in possession of as he comes into his role as king. And so there goes that. And so there are things that you might not like because they don't align with the old system. But as we go into thinking, those things might be modernized, and even though everything else might remain the same. Again, goes back to personal beliefs. You run your house the way you run it, let the king run his house the way. That's the fourth point that I want to talk about. I may be skeptical of belief systems like Ubungoma and all these things. ZCC, I believe they have a false doctrine. It falsely portrays Christianity and stuff like that. And so I'm skeptical of them, but I wouldn't restrict them because people believe what they believe. My belief system is very opinionated towards those things. If it is not in your religious thingy, I completely understand. I'm not in your face. I'm on YouTube talking about it. I make a video, I put it up there, you decide to click on the video to watch it. I was not in your house, I was not in thingy, I was in my own space when I was speaking about them. So if you came to my house to tell me how I must talk about, I know now we have crossed the right of freedom of speech. I prefer think people have what they believe and they are very solid and very, very defined. They're actually well defined in what they believe, than to keep popping up muddied up things. Okay, and why is it that this one here, why did I really want to talk about this one here? Okay, because the king might not be Christian out there evangelizing or anything like that, but what interests me about this is that the hostility towards religion is on the basis of it being from the West. There's this view that it comes from the West, it's not acceptable in Africa, and so they want to keep things straight to the roots. But even amongst themselves, they don't actually even agree about what does it mean to stay to the roots. Even in the Old Testament, I mean, like the king is actually poured oil on by a prophet. And so that completely makes them uncomfortable. The whole subject of the scepter of righteousness or ruling in the space of righteousness, I know they cannot have such a thing. They cannot. It just completely offends them. It portrays things. And so does the king not have the right of religion? No, the question is, does anybody have a right of religion? That's the thing, is that they want to dictate. That's the thing that you are seeing here with Pan-Africanism. As long as they align it with the West so that everything from the West is evil. Now, lastly, I would just love to ask this question. Do we have a right of religion? This question makes sense when you consider that in this time and period, we are going towards the period when the Antichrist comes up. And he wants to tell everybody what to believe. And he has a system of what to believe. And so it makes sense when you see this type of hostility, why the system of Antichrist would be largely accepted, because in that time period, they can actually regulate. They have their own version of how to regulate what other people believe. So in their side, you don't have a right of belief. You are a child. You shouldn't know how to, you shouldn't have the answers to this thing. Which is another thing that one particular family member had been trying to kind of send me messages about. You know, and I completely discourage such things. Don't do that. And so my work requires my perception on the Bible when it comes to faith. It's the center of my work. That is the center of the discussion of my work. Now, you don't like that. I know that. Keep that to yourself. I couldn't care less what you think. as long as the big book says it, I think you should step out of the way before you actually cause issues in thinking. And so it's the Actuality Show with daily Christian commentary videos. I find it very fascinating, and that people they feel entitled to tell other people what to believe. And I'm talking about sometimes it does come off like we are telling people what to believe. No. Apologetics doesn't tell people what to believe. Apologetics corrects what the faith believes. And so when I'm calling out on a daily basis, when you see me saying, no, this is not the right way, that's called apologetics. You're correcting what is believed according to the faith. So I look at the scripture and say, no, it doesn't align with the book. What you believe is contrary to the book. And then the discussion goes from there. It's not telling people, we're just making it clear that what they believe, it's not Christian. So there's a difference within approach. I'm not going to be at your house and telling you, no, I'll be right here telling you, nah, that ain't Christian right there.